Over the past 8 years, I've worked with hundreds of Airbnb investors and real estate entrepreneurs alike, and I've noticed something very interesting. About 20% of them are absolutely crushing it, and the other 80% are stuck at 1 or 2 properties, barely breaking even or making just a couple $1,000s a month. So I decided to analyze what the top performers are actually doing differently. And what I found wasn't what I expected. It's not better marketing, it's not fancier properties, and it's not even better locations. And by the end of this video, you'll know the 3 things that separate the Airbnb businesses that are making barely $1,000 a month to the ones making $50,000, $100,000 plus per month. So let's get right into it. Section number 1, how top Airbnb operators get $100,000 to $300,000 without using their own money. The main pattern that I repeatedly see is that most investors who are stuck at 1 or 2 properties aren't failing because they don't know how to run a profitable Airbnb. They're failing because they don't take on capital. They're using their own money. They're using their own savings. They're maxing out their personal credit cards, and that puts them in a real bad spot because once you max out your personal credit cards, your utilization goes up and your credit score drops, and you're not able to get approved for any financial assistance. You're not able to get any loans. You're not able to get approved for business credit. You can't do anything. And so I had a client, this lady I met last year, a real estate event in New Jersey. She was about $70,000 in debt with her renovation projects for her fix and flip, and she used all of her personal credit cards to fund the renovations. And unfortunately, she wasn't done. She still had more renovations to go, and she couldn't sell it, obviously. And so she was stuck with $70,000, $80,000 of high interest personal credit card debt, and she wasn't able to get approved for anything because her credit score tanked. She was a mess. I mean, she was distraught. She didn't know what to do, and she's in a real bad spot because she wasn't able to effectively use other people's money and other capital. Now she's in debt and her marriage is really getting impacted by that, and I don't know what she's going to do with this fix and flip that she can't move because her personal credit is the thing that's holding her back. I see this time and time again that Airbnb investors are maxing out their personal credit cards. They're getting stuck in this trap where they're not able to pay off their debt and they can't cash flow enough to get out of their high interest personal credit card debt. It's a real shame. Most new Airbnb investors will max out their personal credit cards, use up all of their savings, and then be in a significant debt hole because they have maxed out their cards, their utilization is too high, and they're not making enough to pay it back. Now contrast this with the successful Airbnb operators who are making $50,000 plus every single month because they figured out how to access capital early and how to never have to use their personal credit cards or their own savings to scale their business. Now I'm going to break down the 3 secret funding strategies that all of the successful Airbnb operators tend to use, and I'll explain why each one matters. Strategy number 1, they use business credit at 0% interest instead of hard money or personal savings or high interest personal credit cards. They use 0% interest business credit. Instead of using hard money or draining their savings, they get access to hundreds of thousands of dollars of business credit at 0% interest for 12 to 18 months, even more. So the properties are cash flowing this entire time and they're able to pay for themselves before the interest payments even kick in. Strategy number 2, they stack multiple funding sources because they're not reliant on one bank or one financial institution. They have approvals from 5 to 7 different lenders and have access to $100,000 to $300,000 of capital at all times. What would this do for you if you had $100,000 to $300,000 ready to go, ready to deploy at a moment's notice? When a deal comes up, you can move instantly. And speed is the name of the game here. If you don't have access to the capital when the perfect deal arises, then you're going to miss out and probably will go to the next competitor. Strategy number 3, they have a relationship-based banking strategy. They're not just filling out online applications, hoping for the best. They have actual relationships with business bankers and the underwriting team who see them as a partner and value them as such, and they approve them for higher limits. Just take Mike Wolk, for example. He was just getting out of the military and he started his Airbnb business where he met us. In the first month of starting his new LLC, we were able to get him $169,000 at 0% interest using this exact method. By the way, if you're stuck at 1 or 2 or even 3 properties and you want to scale to that next level of $50,000, $100,000 months without draining your personal savings, click the link in the description to learn more. But first, let me show you how real successful operators actually scale their Airbnb business. Section number 2, speed and volume. How successful operators scale differently. I've noticed is that the most successful Airbnb operators scale in batches. batches, not one property at a time. So what that means is looking at one property every few months, you're not doing it right. Here's what I see with struggling investors. They add one property, maybe wait 6 to 12 months, and they add another property, wait another 6 to 12 months. And by the time they get to property number 5, it's been years. The successful operators, on the other hand, scale from 2 to 7 properties in a few months' time because they have capital access and they deploy it all at once to get the biggest bang for their buck. Because they have access to large pool of capital, they don't need to just get one property at a time. They get 2 to 7 properties in a single 3-month sprint. Scaling in batches matters because you can negotiate better deals with furniture suppliers, you can systematize operations across multiple properties simultaneously, and your cash flow multiplies 3 to 5x overnight instead of gradually over the course of several years. So I want to make the point that successful operators understand momentum. They know that when you're scaling fast, you attract better team members, you find better deals, get better opportunities because you're out there in the market looking for it. You know, the successful operators are striking while the iron is hot, and if you're not taking advantage of these opportunities, you're missing out. Section number 3, why banks fund businesses, not people. Breaking down the third pattern, successful Airbnb operators treat their business like an actual business, not a side hustle. What this means in practice is that they have a separate business entity, whether that's an LLC or an S Corp. They have a business EIN number, an employer identification number. They have business bank accounts, and most importantly, they have business credit that's completely separate from the personal credit. This separation matters. When everything is mixed, let's say your properties are in your own name, you're opening yourself up to a world of risk and liability and tax implications because they're all under your own name as opposed to in a separate business entity. I've met with struggling investors who have all their properties tied up in their own name, and this is a huge risk because you're personally liable, you're gonna have a lot of tax implications as well, and you don't have the separation where you can take advantage of business credit and separate your business from your actual personal life. Okay, you'll hit a ceiling fast because you're limited by your own personal financial capacity. That's why you want to set up a business, have your LLC, and set up business credit as quickly as possible. It's kind of like personal credit. You want to set it up as soon as possible so you can grow, expand, and get bigger and better and build it over time so that you can get more business credit and be able to scale with your business as your business grows. The most successful operators separate their business from their personal. They can scale without any risk to their personal finances. Your personal tax liability is also safer because you're putting your business assets in your actual business, okay, and separating it from your personal. When you separate everything, the bank sees it as a real, legitimate, fundable business. This separation is what allows to access significantly more capital. It allows you to scale without putting your personal assets at risk unnecessarily and builds a business credit profile that compounds over time. The point is, most struggling investors are afraid to set up the business structure because they think it's complicated or expensive or they don't know how to do it themselves. But the most successful Airbnb investors figured this out early, and it's the foundation that everything else is built on. To be truly successful in the Airbnb business, you need to have systematic capital access through business credit, scale in batches as opposed to one property at a time, and treat it like a real business with proper separation between business and personal finances. Now, if you want help implementing this exact funding strategy so that you can scale your Airbnb business to the next level, click the link in the description to learn more, and I'll see you in the next one.